it is time for Open Mic here on Youth Cafe, and get this, research shows that 39% of Kenya's youth have attained post-secondary education. In fact, research continues to tell us that this specific generation is Kenya's most educated or best educated generation of them all. But as you've said, or rather you've seen in a couple of months, it wasn't only doctors who were on strike. Lecturers were also on strike during that time for about 60 days. And today's conversation is what happens when lecturers go to strike. When it comes to the students, what do they do? How do they occupy their time? And we would love to hear from you as a student, as a parent, as a lecturer. And let me introduce our guests right here on in the studio with me. Right now, closer to me is Vanessa. Thank you so much for coming. And Vanessa is a student at Multimedia University. Yeah. All right, Brian Aseli, on your end, who do you have?
On my immediate left, I have Faith Mtune, who is a student at the University of Nairobi, right? At Kenyatta University. Hey,
Kenyatta is represented this evening.
Leo mmeja huku.
Kenyatta is represented this evening.
Exactly, and we have Dr. Hamisi Omar Babusa, who is a lecturer at Kenyatta University, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, welcome. And let me just start with the obvious question, because that's what we are asking our online community, is what do you think happens when lecturers go to strike in terms of students? How do we occupy our time? Is it just at home, Netflix and chill, you know? Or is it heading to the movies? Or do we actually take time to practice other skills? I would love to hear from you.
Well, personally, I don't really like staying idle.
Yeah.
So what I was doing during the strike, I'm like a fitness enthusiast.
Oh, wow.
So
Workouts.
Yeah, so I was yeah, so I was going to the gym, and then I was working on my my social media platform, that's Instagram, and like posting blogs and like fitness stuff.
So you chose to keep busy.
So yeah, I chose to keep busy.
Faith, can you relate to that? What did you do? Honestly speaking, lay your cards on the table.
Okay, during the strike, I decided just to keep myself busy, doing some little businesses.
All right.
Yeah.
But do you think that your friends were doing the same thing within your social circles? I see you want to jump inside there. She's already saying no. Within your social circles, what were your friends doing? Were they as productive as you guys?
Well, not really. Like, honestly, most people, they were just at home. But I don't think they wanted to stay home. It's just because the strike was indefinite. So, like, you don't know if you start this, then now the lecturers will come back. So most people were just waiting for...
Faith, what about you in your social circles? What were your friends doing? Were they keeping equally busy as you were?
I guess some were busy, others were just idle, waiting for the strike to come to an end.
Sasa hiyo daktari, mlikuwa mnafanya nini? Wewe ulikuwa pale unasema we will never, we shall not be moved. Alafu after 54 days you guys are moved. What were you doing during the strike exactly?
Okay, you know, for the lecturers, there are a lot of things you can do during that time. So the lecturers are occupied. Even during the strike, they have other things they'll be doing. So they are not as, you cannot say they are idle.
But did you get what you're looking for? Na hiyo CBA agreement yenu, was it something that you really wanted?
That one I cannot comment much, but at least there's something.
There's something, eh?
Yes.
Dr. Hamisi, allow me to also jump in here.
Yes.
One of the comments that we got online is that while lecturers were getting their salaries increased, students had so much to lose, all right, in terms of school fees. As a parent, you've already paid school fees for this semester, but you're not in class. On top of that, for those who live outside of school, there's issue of rent. Let's not forget that. Asili, we were in Desta and we lived outside, right?
Campus.
There's the issue of also paying rent. So on one hand, yes, lecturers have benefited, but students, it's a lose-lose situation.
No, for school fees, the students didn't lose anything because they are not going to pay any other fees. They have already paid for the semester. So they'll just continue studying. So maybe what they have incurred, maybe it's the rent, subsistence, and maybe time. But if you are a university student in Kenya, I think sometimes you have to expect that. Even when I was a student, those things, they happen.
How did it make you feel at that time when you were a student and now that you're a lecturer?
In fact, for me, it happened twice. When I was a master's student, it happened, then the studies were stopped for time being. Then when also I was just appointed as a lecturer. Just immediately I became a lecturer. Within 2 weeks, a strike came by, and took 3 months to be resolved. And we survived.
Yeah, did it disrupt your calendar, your academic calendar, like as a lecturer?
Yeah, usually it disrupts everything. It disrupts, yes.
But Dr. Help us understand, yeah? When lecturers do go on strike, there's some things that students can do at the same time to keep busy. And one of those things is like, following up with the lecturer. I know you guys are on strike, but is there something that I can do, go ahead when it comes to assignments? But not every other lecturer will have that sort of open door policy.
No, it depends on the contact between most students are supposed to have maybe mobile phones of the lecturer, or they can see the lecturer on Facebook or on WhatsApp or Twitter. They can contact the lecturer and then get some advice. I know even if the lecturer is on strike, the lecturer cannot stop from advising the student. And also the student can keep themselves busy. Maybe, for example, if you're a medical student, you look for attachment in a hospital somewhere and keep yourself busy so that you get some experience according to your field. If you are doing education, do something. So don't stay idle and be on standby, because you don't know when the strike is going to
end.
Yes.
Brian, you went to the streets.
Yes, and I talked to a number of people. They are really interesting. The city streets of Nairobi always speak their heart out. Na pia uko hivyo nje pia we're going to come to your streets and get to know exactly what happened. But this is Street Sense.
It's really unfair for parents to pay so much school fees, and the money could have been used somewhere else, because now it's just lying in the institution for nothing, with just the lecturers thinking about themselves.
Most of them, they've been used by politicians to mash up the crowds in political campaigns, and others, I think most of them in drug abuse. Like, they've been idle. So they use that time to go have fun, what. That will lead to pregnancies.
Wamekuwa wengi wanafanya mambo yenye ieleweki, wanasumbua wazazi. Wazazi wanatamani tu kama wangekuwa shule. Na wengine wanafanya tu biashara. Wale wako mature enough.
Okay, I don't think we should look at it like in one perspective. It can be in two perspectives, right? It can be the positive or negative. It depends with the parents or the kids, right? Because a student can go like, maybe decide to do a language or, which will like help in the CV and stuff. But if maybe they don't have money or something, something can happen or anything. Maybe they might be, they might engage in things that are not very useful.
Those who have used that platform to hustle, you see, like IBC have been registering, they tried their luck. Instead of taking leave, study leave, some of them who I know did take that time to register as voters, as clerks by the ABC. Yeah.
So I think it's a big blow to the students, especially me. I'm also a student, by the way. Though all the regular students have been affected so much.
It's not so fun just staying at home and you're supposed to be in school. And then, it gets kind of annoying because you have nothing to do and you're used to waking up in the morning going to school. And some students focus better in school than at home. They want their pay, we need our education, we need to learn, we need to graduate and get over at school so that we can start working.
All right, so those were just some of your comments when Brian Asili went to the streets and had a chance to talk to you guys. But also joining us here in studio is Wera, who is the KU leader. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
But also, we want to go to Pretoria. When we started the show earlier, we told you that we will head over to University of Pretoria, where Sila, one of the university students, is joining us right now via Skype. Sila, good evening. Can you hear me?
Good evening. Yes.
Great. Now, let's talk about the issue of fee must fall. In South Africa, it was a different experience where students were the ones who, took to the streets and were requesting for lower school fees. And at that time, very many students were out of school. Now, between your social circles and what you were able to see there, what were the youth in South Africa doing during that time, apart from the fact that they were fighting for their own rights when they were not on the streets? Were they keeping busy?
Well, first of all, my university personally has about 45,000 people, and you can't expect 45,000 people to strike at the same time, 45,000 students to strike at the same time. So a lot of the students were actually joining in the strike because in South Africa, there's there's not many situations where people strike, you know what I mean? So for us to strike in South Africa, something really big has to happen. Whereas I know, for example, in universities in Kenya, they strike quite a bit. So the more people strike, the less the students get involved. But because for us there was so many students involved in the strike, most students were involved in the strike, either going to the police station to help somebody who's been arrested, going to a first aid station to help somebody who's been shot by rubber bullets. A small majority of the students who felt like the strike wasn't really affecting them, they, for example, went into their own rooms and started watching series. They started having fun, going to machomas.
The whole
like
Netflix and chill situation.
Yeah, it just depends on if the strike affects the student personally or not.
What about the lecturers down in South Africa? Because I know there were also big protests from like the likes of Wits University and University of Cape Town. What were the lecturers doing during that period? Were they trying to, meet the students on the side and, have small conversations and give group work, assignments, online studying? What were the lecturers trying to do to, solve the situation?
Well, I would say with many of my lecturers, because I studied something to do with humanities, many of them want to find out what's going on. Many of them want to come and meet us at our point of need and say, do you guys actually struggle with paying university? Some of the lecturers I know even joined us in the strike. Some of them went on and started singing the songs and participating in the struggle with us. The university as a whole decided after a while that stopping the academic program for us was not really a good thing. So when they took classes online and they expected people to hand in assignments online, it became a problem for the students because now you're trying to strike, but at the same time you're trying to finish an assignment that you must hand in online, you know what I mean?
Everyone here today is sort of laughing at that situation.
I actually would like to ask Verevere a question. Kwanza karibu sana.
Thank you.
And I hope that you guys may decide mnarudi shuleni.
We are settling, we are so happy that the university management is right now, coming together to, develop and design the curriculum which has been battered by, the lecture strike. And stories that are not being told about the strike, it's true.
Please tell us. Tuambie kitu moja yenye wewe ulifanya as a student leader to make sure that these students are not just idle, they are doing something.
Well, one thing that is there is that most of our ladies in campus have gotten pregnant during this time because they were lazy.
You don't say.
That is a fact. And, the best we could be doing is to assist them, because in KU we have a health unit and other things. In KU we are more than 80,000 students. So the strike has, dealt us a big blow. And, parents have lost a lot, students have lost a lot in terms of time and resources. And it's important that even moving forward, the government should look at, should be more committed to ensure that the collective bargain agreement, is implemented, and even moving forward in terms of the budgeting, each and every year it's part of it because we don't want a recurrent of the same phenomenon.
I want to hear from the entire panel on this one because it's a general question. Do you think something like online studying could be a solution to the strikes that we are seeing? Because this is not going to be the last time we're going to see lecturers strike, given the past trends that we've been seeing in the country. Do you think online studying would actually be effective?
Well, digital learning, every university should embrace digitalization. And I'm so happy that KU, we have begun, e-learning, and we have a lot of students in thousands of numbers registered to pursue the program. And every university should embrace technology and digitalization to ensure that they digitalize their programs. However, we cannot really do away with a system where students have to be present in class, where lecturers have to be there. We still have to embrace it and moving forward. But I believe that digitalization should be embraced moving forward.
All right, Dr. Hamisi?
Yeah, e-learning or digital, it's a mode of study. So it's and usually it's fit only for mostly adults. And those who are working, they don't have much time. So it's a mode of study. But for normal students who have finished Form 4 and are going to university, it's good for them to go to, when you go to the university and mingle with other students, there are some extra skills you're also learning, social skills. In university, it's not only education, it's not only books you are reading or the subject. There are other skills which you should learn. Use communication skills when you're communicating with the others, social skills. So those are only learned by young students like these ones here when you are involved with others when you're mingling with others. But if you come to the digital, the mode of e-learning, that's good for adults who have already passed that stage, and they're adults, they are busy.
Faith, would you agree with that Dr. Hamisi has said, or do you feel like even though you're in first year, second year, even digital learning can still be a solution?
Yeah, it could have been a solution because you could just have gone a step ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vanessa?
Yeah, I think that e-learning is a really good idea because now we've been away from school since January, and like if we had e-learning, then I feel like we'd have made progress. Like we wouldn't have to extend the semester as much.
And then remember, there's some subject you cannot learn through e-learning.
True.
E-learning can just supplement. You have to go there, sit in class, like sciences. You cannot do an experiment through e-learning. You have to go to the physical lab. You get the test tube. If you are doing law or medicine, so there are some subjects you cannot do e-learning. E-learning can just supplement, but the physical.
Yeah, I'd like to ask a very open question. Do you think that with the rising case of strikes, huwa inafanya employers huko nje wanaogopa kuemploy watu because it's a culture, striking culture, it's our thing. It's like we don't have water, we strike. We don't have food, we strike. We don't have our money, we strike. Do you think it's become more of a threat to our employers?
Well, I think, especially for university, it has not become a culture as such. It's because it appears after some times, because of lack of commitment from.
But it's happened in the 80s.
It happens in the 80s and 90s, and the best people that the employers should engage in terms of their talks and in terms of discussions. The best is the government because. The buck stops with the government. And the strike has its own gains and pains that we do appreciate as students because you don't expect the vice chancellors to, sign, a contract, with the lecturers that they will offer quality services while at the end of the day they're not motivated. We have even cases in Maseno University where lecturers have resorted to form self-groups so that they can, venture into other businesses to supplement their pay. That one just shows you the glaring disparities in terms of, the lecturer salaries.
Let me ask the same question to Vanessa. Do you think that because you're in a public university, you feel like employers prefer guys from the private universities compared to you guys because of the striking cultures?
Well, it could be, but I also feel like they know that for public universities, we need to express ourselves because it's not always, private universities, the students are a bit more pampered than we public universities. So we are just expressing
What do you mean
ourselves.
pampered?
No.
Pampered?
I just mean that for public universities, lazima tukue mashujaa. And striking will always be there, and it will always be there because even unions strike and things like those. So
okay, for student strikes, if you look the trend from 1980s up to now, things are changing. So you can see right now the students are maturing. For example, even during the lecturer strike.
Is it that they are maturing ama imekuwa tu ni uoga?
No. They are maturing up because they have discovered that you cannot solve a problem by strike. That's a lecturer's.
Because let me engage Sila right now, who's joining us live from Pretoria. When you say it wouldn't be a change of solution. In South Africa, when the government was trying to raise the school fees by 8%, the students took it to the streets. And while the government wanted them to go to class, the teachers, rather the students were just not having it. Sila, for the situation or the environment back in South Africa, would you say that the striking actually came up with positive results despite the vandalism that we saw and everything else that was being reported?
First of all, I'll start off by saying, just according to the question that you were asking about e-learning, I feel that with the implementation of e-learning, you are not attacking the problem that is at hand. You are simply moving around the problem. And when you move around the problem by creating a space such as e-learning for students to learn, then it becomes a problem. The point of striking is to stop services so that they can be properly addressed, to create a problem so that the government can address that problem. When you start doing e-learning, you're simply avoiding the problem, taking another route around the problem. Secondly, South African students did achieve results. I mean, the whole country came to a standstill to look at students from different universities, from University of Cape Town, University of Johannesburg, University of Wits. All these students, sort of through social media and stuff, they banded together and created a sort of a big force against the government. So we did really achieve things. Some students, some universities maintained a 0% fee increase. My university, unfortunately, maintained, they had an 8% increase because of finances. But I think it's possible that students, if they work hard enough, can actually attain what they need.
All right, Sila, before I really let you go very quick, because one of the questions that we are asking our online community is today what the youth really occupy themselves with when it comes to, lack of absent lecturers. And one of it was vocational training, entrepreneurship, crime, and relaxing/chilling. What is the situation of vibe when it comes to the varsities in South Africa?
What do you mean when it comes to how people
exactly how the
relax?
Students would occupy their time when the lecturers are on strike or when they are the ones striking? I mean, because it's not 24/7 that the students were on the streets.
Well, usually students, like you're saying, we relax, we chillax, as some people say. But for us, we don't really. If lecturers do strike, then what can we do? We can't do anything. I mean, we can't exactly join them. I mean, some people would join them and strike because they would just want to vandalize things or something like that. But most people sit down and try to either recover the work that they've lost, or some people get into crime, like you're saying. It's unfortunate that we, the youth, have a lot of energy and a lot of time, and we have to occupy ourselves. So some people relax, some people do vocational training, but that's generally the vibe in South Africa.
All right, thank you so much. That was Sila joining us live via Skype, all the way from Pretoria, giving us his 2 cents in regards to what the youth down in South Africa do during that time when they are the ones on strike. But here within studio, our panel, I would like to really hear your final comments on this, all right? Let's start with you, Dr.
My final comment is that, okay, I've seen students maturing, so they should continue doing that. Because if you go to the Western universities, for example, countries like USA, have you had students going to the street?
In countries such as US?
Yeah, it's rarely, because there's a lot of communication between the management, the government, and the students. So things usually, they are continuing to improve.
All right.
So the striking is not really an issue. And for the striking lecturers, the solution is that if the government can put systems in place whereby it's known automatically that after these years, just like in the public service, I don't think the lecturers will be striking. So that will be the end of strikes.
Vanessa?
What I can say is, I feel like the government should really communicate well, as Dr. Hamisia said, with the lecturers, and they should honestly, they should just find solutions much faster, because we are really losing. And yeah, and I'm grateful to the students, because even us would have decided to strike, by the way. So I'm also I'm grateful to the students for maintaining and keeping calm.
Faith?
Okay, according to me, the government should do something towards this strike, so that it can come to an end.
It actually came to an end.
It has come to an end. So you guys are back on school on Monday.
It should not come again. As in, it should not happen again. It really wasted our time.
I think the government should stop enjoying students, and the ministry, especially those who are in charge, who have been entrusted with responsibilities, should be responsible enough to, dialogue and solve these issues. And once an agreement has been reached, then both parties should be committed. And I believe that with doing that, we shall see a reduced cases of strikes. And one of the reasons why there are maybe fewer strikes in some universities because of the nature of environment that has been created in terms of management, where there's dialogue, there's a dialectical environment where students can exchange their views in terms of student leadership. That will be a stepping stone towards ensuring that we grow towards having progressive universities where we do not really become combative and destructive in terms of how we handle our grievances.
All right, fantastic. That was our panel. And just to quickly, before we go on a break, let me read some of your tweets that are coming through. Stephen Tengo, he says, during a strike, resources in universities should be still made available, like libraries and cafes, to avoid student loss. All right, we're going to take a short break here on Youth Cafe, but stay with us on KTN News.